can see my screen. Hello.
Yes, we can.
Maybe you need to increase
The font, right?
the size.
Okay, no.
Yeah.
So I just want to say something, right, so that we won't be dragging ourselves back. I believe most people have seen the first what's it called that we did, the introduction. So because I might be, throwing some terms, and if you haven't gone through the introduction, you might be confused. So I believe we've actually gone through the introduction. So going through the what's it called, the book. The first thing they actually dealt with is data types. And if you can remember, in our first class we talked about data types, and I explained that data types are just like they define the kind of data that a variable can hold. For example, numbers, tests, or even booleans like true or false. So I can remember we okay. I open it here. So we went through the data types. So I don't think it's something we have to like go back and handle again. Then I remember telling us that we have two types of data types. We have the primitive data types and we have the non-primitive data types, at least as far as Java is concerned. So for the primitive data types, we have int, we have int, which stores whole numbers and whole numbers basically, like negative or positive, something like 25, 30, minus 100 and all that. And we have another data types called double. Sorry, let me just type it out here. So we have data types. I shouldn't be typing this out actually, but so we have int, and this says whole numbers like 10, 25, minus 100, minus 56. So after this, we have something called double. So and double stores decimal numbers. So like let's say you are dealing with price, though unfortunately we are not spending kobo again in Nigeria. Let's say something costs 15 naira 95 kobo. So this stores, this is not a whole number. So double stores decimal numbers. Then okay, let me just write decimal numbers. Decimals, yeah. Then another data type we have in Java is boolean. So and boolean stores true or false. True or false. So something like is it afternoon, is raining, and all that. Like is it day or something like that. Then the last one we have is char. And char, they store single characters. So I explained all these single characters in our first session. So something like let's say you are dealing with grades, like someone has A or they have B, and that's these would be things we have in our course. So these are primitive data types. Primitive data types. Data types. Then we have the non-primitive data types also. So non-primitive data types. Primitive data types. And here we have string. Yeah. We have string, and this stores, you can use this to store names. Let's say name equals, let's say name, okay, sorry, this is Java. String name equals read one. Yeah. So I've explained this before. And we also have arrays. And arrays, like I gave an analogy that time, like let's say you want to go to the market and you have a list of things to buy. So arrays is just like a list of things, a list of elements of the same type. And I could remember I was using what's it called? Is it not fruit or something that day? So it's just a list of values with the same data type. So let's say I want to go, I have a list of numbers. I beg, let's meet ourselves. So and this is how to write it. You just write the data type first, then with what's it called? Square brackets, you close it, then you write the variable name. So let's say this is numbers, which can be equals to, then you have this 1, 2, 3, 100, and so on and so forth. So that is data types. So according to what we have in the book, I think they have some other data types too, but these are just the most popular ones that people use in programs. So going back to what's it called? Okay, let me just do something. Let me just say class. What's today's date? Let me just say tonight. So and I believe by now we all know how to write a Java application. So in my what's it called? Let me just do public blah blah for the first one. So I'm just writing a method, and here I just want to give us some examples of data types. So if you want to let's say you want to write a variable that stores someone's age, you can just do int age equals 18, right? So this particular age is actually storing this value into it. You can call it anything. You can call it read one age. It can be anything, but you are actually storing something inside it. And in this case, I'm saying this particular variable, this particular bucket, or this particular cupboard that I want to store something inside must only accept integer values, and I'm storing something in it such that in the future, if I need to get read one's age, I don't have to say write it all over because it has been saved already. So and the second one is string. So let's say what is this guy's name? I'm saying his name is read one. So this is saying we have a variable which is name. It can be anything. It can be student name, for example. So that it won't be like maybe this is casted in stones. So it can be anything. But what we are saying is this particular variable that is going to store something should only accept a data type that is called string. Then always in Java, always remember to finish your your line of code with a semicolon. So this is telling the program that you are done. So anything after that is going to be handled separately. So that is primitive and non-primitive data type. And also in the book, they mention abstract data types. So let me just do, okay, sorry, let me copy everything here that I've done here. I'll just bring it so that they are in the same. I mean, if you are raising up your hand, you might need to, because I might not be checking the. So in the book, they mentioned, what's it called? Abstract data types. Data types. Oops. Abstract data types. So they call it ADTs. So what are abstract data types? So they are just like, they define a set of operations on data without specifying how that data is going to be implemented. So and inside the book, they talked about what's it called? LIFO, or is it LIFO? It's just LIFO. So we have FIFO, we have FIFO, we have FIFO, we have LIFO, and FIFO is just like first in, first out. So that's what FIFO means. So just like you have, let's say you have a bowl of hot water, and you are expecting maybe some frogs to jump inside. So the way they jump inside, that's the way they are going to jump outside. So first in, first out, first in, first out, first out. So this works in the case whereby, let's say you have a tube that has two openings. So it enters from one end and goes out at the other end. Or for example, let's say you have we have a class now that has exit and entrance. So as you are entering, that's the way you are going out. The first person that enters is going to be the first person that goes out of the class. So that is first in, first out. Then we have LIFO, which is last in, last out. First out. Sorry. Last in, first out. So this means the person that enters last goes out first. So for example, let's say we have a classroom with just one exit, and it can only contain one person at a time. Like two people cannot stand side by side. So the last person that comes in is going to be the first person that will go out of the class. So that is what FIFO and LIFO means. So in the case of abstract data types, so LIFO means the last element added to what's it called? The last element added is going to be the first one to be removed. So that is LIFO. And we have in the book, we have some operations in the book, and one of them is push. How do I explain stack? Okay, sorry. I think the best thing is just to show, because I love diagrams. So stack, LIFO. So we have, okay, yes. So this is going to like put more into it. So you can see, I mentioned, so this is a stack. A stack is just like, let's say empty buckets. So we have some operations, we have push, we have poop, we have a lot of them, right? But I'm going to explain, like using these popular ones like push, pop, and pick, and all that. So it can be found in the book on page 4. So what do they mean, and how can they be used? So let me just comment this out. So we have the first one, which is push. You can see it's just like command, like push. And there is something you have to pay attention to. Like in the last session, I made mention of these brackets. So anytime you see these brackets in front of a variable name, that means this is a method. And I actually explained what a method is in one of the in our class. So you can see I have functions method. So in different languages they call them different things. In JavaScript they call them functions, and we also have method in JavaScript. So in Java we call them methods. So and methods or functions are just reusable block of code. Like you are writing them because you want to reuse them later. So if you watch the class, you can see I wrote something and I was able to reuse that method over and over again for different things. So it's just like you have a template, or let me say, is it a template? Okay, like I said that day, I said let's say you are working in the block industry whereby they are molding block. They always have this mold that they form a lot of blocks from. You just have one mold and you can form thousands of blocks from it. All you have to do is just like be putting those things inside. So I use that analogy for methods, that methods are just something like they are like templates or blueprints, yes, that you can use to you can reuse it over and over and over again for different things. So here we have push, and push something into the elements. It push it at the top. So it add an element at the top, or to the top, yeah. To the top of the, let's say array, in this case array. It adds an element to the top of the array. Then we have another one which is pop. So pop is the opposite of push. So pop is going to like what? It's going to pop out the top elements. So in this case we are dealing with last in, first out, right? Last in, first out. So if you push something, let's say you have like 3 things. You push the first one, which is number 1, you push number 2, you push number 3. So that means the number 3 is the last one. And if you are now using pop method is going to remove the last one. Oh, sorry, is that? Yeah, it's going to remove the one at the top. Let me put it that way. So which is going to be the last one? But don't worry, I will explain for that later, because sometimes it can be confusing. It's going to remove the top elements in the array. Then we have another one, which is in Java. We have pick. So pick is just like it's just normal English. It's picking, like it's looking through. So it views the top elements without removing it. So it's going to like show you. Let's say you have a black box and you've been pushing some things inside, and you want to know like, okay, what was the last thing I pushed? So using this pick method is going to like show you the last thing you push. So let's now write some code so that it's going to like make sense. So let's say this is the stack, right? So we are dealing with stack. So let's say I have my int, which is going to be an array of integers. So let me call it stack. Like, not even let me call it stack. That's the way it is in the what's it called in the book. Okay, so they do. Sorry, let me just follow what is in the book. So the first thing they do in the book on page 5 is they initialize the variable. So they call it n, and they save something inside, which is number 5. So that means this n is holding number 5. And the next thing is they did int and int stack. Sorry, I think they made a mistake. Should be int stack. They actually made a mistake in the okay. Oh, wow. So they're actually doing a new integer. Why this first? Then I'm going to explain. Then they have int top, so which is going to be 0, right? So what they are saying here is this stack is going to be an array to store elements. So it's going to store elements, and like we have here, they've actually initialized n, which is a variable, to store 5. So which means here means 5, right? But because we've actually stored 5 inside this particular variable, so let's just put this like they did in the book. And then they have int top, so they are using this to track. So let me just say to track the top elements. So they want to use it to track the top elements, right? So now in the book they now use this push, pop and pick, just like practicalize what they do. So we are going to like do that and see the results. So we have to create a variable. We have to create a method that we can call. So we can call this push. You can call it any name you want, any name. So we can call this push, and it's going to accept an item, which is an integer. And this method is going to do. Let me just write this out, and I'll explain what this does. Equals to item, then top plus plus. Oops. So what's going on here? I have some errors here. Okay. Oh, sorry. I'm writing my method inside another method. Sorry. Okay. So I have this. Then what else? So here, what is happening here is if you remember, we have a variable here, which is stack, and this stack is going to like be a bucket that holds integers, a list of integers, like we have here. So it's going to hold arrays of integers, list of integers, like a list of integers. And the first one we are putting inside is number 5. So we are telling, our code is saying this bucket name stack should have number 5. So by default, we are adding number 5 to it. And coming here, we are now saying stack top, and our top is 0 equals item. So we wrote a method which is called push. We are saying this method is going to accept numbers, integers, and any integer that comes in, we want to like assign them to a variable name item. So inside our block code, we are saying stack, which is a list of items, a list of numbers. Then, and if you remember, the last class we did, I mentioned arrays and how to access array positions. I don't know if you remember, whereby I did a list of things like fruit and all that, and we are picking the list. And I told us something like in programming, position starts from 0. So I'm just using the word position so that we understand. So let's say we are in class. Barry is on chair number 1, the first chair in class. That chair, or what's it called? That seat is going to be seat 0 in programming. So positioning in programming starts from, or counting in programming starts from 0, 1 to 9, right? So if you want to access the first element in an array, you use position 0. So I don't want us to go back into that. So this is saying access the first element in the array, then assign whatever thing that comes into the method to it, so that our bucket is going to have the first element to be whatever thing that is there. And if you remember, we initialize this stack with number 5. So I'm coming back. Then the next line of code is saying increment top. So this plus plus in programming means it is the same thing as saying top equals to top plus 1. So this is what it means. So we are saying 0 and our top is 0, initialized with 0. So we are saying 0 plus 1. So this top is going to be what? It's going to be 1. So next time we are coming back, whatever thing that we have here, we've incremented this to 1. So if we run the code again, it's going to be plus plus. So by that time, it's going to be 1. If you remember, we've actually done this before when I was talking about loops. You can remember. So that I explained everything explicitly, like, when the looping is coming back over and over again, it's going to be incremented plus 1 or plus whatever thing you give to it. But here we are saying plus plus, which is plus 1. So whatever top is, then add 1 to it. So that is what this means. So in the book also, they also did some other examples, like, I'll just copy this and edit for just to save time. Then the next one is they did push. Okay, we've done push, then pop. And pop is what? It's not accepting any parameter. Then inside top, they now did top minus minus, which is the same thing as top equals to top minus 1. So that's what it means. Let me just put it as comment. Top equals to whatever top is minus 1. So, and here, top equals to whatever top is plus 1. So I'm just going to comment these ones out. So what else they have? We have then they now initialize. Sorry, I wanted to write it out before the class were. You can't see my screen? Hello?
Yes, it's kind
We've
of
not been seeing
tiny.
your screen since.
Oh,
I
sorry.
am. I can see from here.
Let me increase it though.
I can see your screen.
How about now?
I can see your screen.
Are you sure it's not your
I'm not
network?
seeing your screen. The screen is
Are you sure it's not your network?
No, that
How
it's
about now?
smaller. That's it.
Is it
I
enough?
can see
It's
it.
better now.
Okay,
It's
sorry
better
for
now.
that. Sorry. You should not because I don't know. So return. So I think the last thing, what we didn't cover in the last class is this return word. What does it mean? So hopefully I'm going to like.
Excuse me, please.
Yeah, you can go ahead, please.
Yes, that top
Yeah.
when you started from the public void.
No, you can just say the line. You look at we have numbers.
Yeah.
What line?
Yes, the
38, Abi.
yes.
Okay.
Then you first put the top dash. Yes, that please.
Okay, yeah.
That top dash is what's the relationship with that and the plus? Please explain.
Okay, so like I said, let's say, what can I say now? Let's say my Jesse number. So let's say I have int. Okay, let me just write it somewhere. Let's say I have, for example, let's say I have, this is not part of it. I just want to like write something. I have int, and I say int Jesse number of Ronaldo equals 7. So which means Ronaldo's number is 7. So next time I want to give somebody else number 8, but I don't want to write it out. I'll just say that Jesse number plus plus. So this means whatever Jesse number is plus 1. So it's just a shorthand, like, just to make it beautiful. So this is the same thing as saying Jesse number plus 1. I don't know if you understand.
Yes,
So
I'm saying
which
the
means
dash.
I'm coming. I just want to say that if you understand this one, you understand that one too. So this
Yes,
is
I
saying
do.
Jesse number plus 1, which is 7 plus 1, which is going to give us 8. So they just want to make the program, beautiful. That's why they are using plus plus. Then for minus, this is not dash dash. It is minus actually.
Okay.
So like I said here, so let's say I want to give somebody else number 6. So I'll just do int, let's say number 6. Int number 6 equals to Jesse number minus minus. So this is going to say number 6 is going to be, so this is saying whatever Jesse number is at that particular moment, which is 7, minus 1, which is minus minus, then this is going to be, you understand? So if you see plus plus means plus 1. If you see minus minus means minus 1. So they just want to, just to like make the thing beautiful and just to add some steps to the programming. That's why they are doing minus plus plus. Although we still have another one which we'll explain later. And even I think there is star too to mean exponential, yes. So let's go back into our code base. Apparently what they wrote in the book is actually throwing error here. Which I don't understand. Okay, we have return. We have return here. Oh, the reason why this is actually throwing error is because we are not telling our method to return anything. So we have to actually define it like what is this, what's it called? What is it returning? But then, so let me just do away from the book for this to rain. So let me just do, okay, we can just still leave it. So let me just fix it. What's it called? Int, oh, sorry, I made a fuck up. Sorry. So, void, I think I explained in the last class too. So, yes, I did. Yes, I explained what those things means. So I explained what void means, and I explained why we have it there. Yes, I explained. Yes. So back to so void here means this particular stuff is not returning anything, right? Here we're adding int, which means we are expecting this method to return an integer. And as you can see, my programmer was shouting for me like, if I change this to void, like I'm not expecting anything. But inside my program, I'm telling this particular method to return something. So he's saying cannot return void method cannot return a value. So but now we are expecting it to return an int. So the error is gone. Don't worry, I'll still come back and explain what most of these things mean. I just want to write out what we have in the book. And the last one is peak. After pop, we have peak. So after this out, at least we can take the other ones as exercise, based on the explanation I give. So we have peak. Okay, we can still do Boolean too. We have peak. So this peak is not expecting anything, but we have everything is in our book. I just want to like write them out. Top minus 1, yeah. Then return item. Okay, yeah. So that is peak. Then let's do Boolean. So this is going to throw an error actually. So let's say what they have is empty, exactly the way it is in the book, and it's empty is doing what? This is a lot though. Okay, let's write it out. So they are saying inside the book on page 6, they are saying if. So normally if you are reading programming language, you can just read it like normal English so that it makes sense. So this is saying if top is less than or equals to 0, then return true. Return true. Else return false. So you can see that my text editor is throwing some errors. And the reason why this is throwing some errors is because I'm saying this particular is empty method should return an integer. But now in the block of code, I'm saying return Boolean, return true, return false. And if I over it, you see what's going to say. Type mismatch cannot convert from Boolean to int. So that means this is going to be, I'm expecting this particular method to return what's it called? A Boolean. So I think we can just stop here and go over this code again. Then we can run it. Actually, let's run it, right? So let me just explain.
Sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you made the where it says Boolean is empty.
Okay, what's the mistake? Should I explain what is happening here? So this one, this is empty.
Okay.
It is me giving it a name that I can understand. I can call it is read one. Like I said, when you're talking about Boolean, it's just to make something meaningful. Actually, if I call this is read one, it's going to work. But I want to give it a name so that whenever I'm calling this method, I would understand what it's doing, right? So I can call it anything. I can even remove is read one. I can call it read one. It will work, right? But because we are dealing with Boolean, and Boolean is true or false. So in the programming sense, it's just like asking a question: is raining? So you should return true or false, like just asking a question. So you just make things beautiful. So you can give it any method. You can call your method any name. But when you're writing your program, you want to write it in such a way that when you come back after 10 years, you still understand what is going on. So me giving this is empty means if I come back later in the future, like it's empty. So if I'm saying this is, it feels like a question. So definitely I'm expecting a true or false. So it can be anything, like I explained in the first session that day. It can be anything. Your variable name can be anything. But just make sure you are writing it in such a way that you understand what is happening there, right? And inside the book, if you check on page 5, they actually use a empty. So I just want to use something like we can, relate to it when we are reading the book. So I don't know if that answers the concern. So back to the code base, I just want to explain what is happening here, right? So let me just delete this public stuff because I'm not using it. I use it to explain the other time. So we are not using it. So what's this? I'm not using this. I'm coming. Sorry. Sorry, I want to drag this down. It's doing someone. Sorry. Let me just close it. Okay. Oh, because I zoomed in, no wonder. Oh, it's not. Okay, sorry. Let me just go back. So let me explain what is happening here. I already explained all this in the first class. We're having a public class, tonight, blah, blah. I explain what this means. So inside this, our class name, our Java file, we have int. We initialize it with number 5. So we are saying a variable name called n is going to hold a value of type integer. And we assigned it 5. You can assign it anything, but based on what we have. Then inside here, we are saying we have an array, which is stack. And this array is going to hold a list of integers. And we store, what's it called inside it? We initialize it with, what's it called? N, which is 5. Then here, we are saying integer top. Top is also a variable. You can call this anything, but just like understand what is happening. So we call it top. Then, why is my arrow not? Sorry. Oh. Is it because it's big? Okay. So we have, something is happening to my editor. So we have top and we initialize it with 0. So we wrote the method. And our method is what? We call it push. It can be anything. So we are just saying this method is going to accept an argument of item, which is going to be an integer. So inside this block of code, we are now saying our array for position 0. So this is the same thing as saying our top, which is 0. So which means we say the first element in the array should assign item. So if an item is coming in, if the first item we give to it is 100, this is saying stack should be 100. So at the end of the day, we are going to end up with a list of something like this 100. So if you run this code again and you put 200, stack is going to be 200, and we are going to have something like 200. So don't worry, I'll still explain, maybe with examples. So let me just, what do you have here? Top, right? So shall we run this code and let's see. Let's do system print in, blah, 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 blah. So, come in now. Sorry, I'm looking for something actually. So I showed us something that day. Okay. So, I'm going to add this so that we can run our code. So inside there, let's do something. So I want to run the code base so that we can see what is happening, right? How much this needs to be for me. So let's say we want to push an item into the array. So we can just do push int tonight 5. Yeah. Why is this? Oh, okay. Sorry. So, sorry, I don't know. This needs to, I want to drag this thing to the, I don't know why. Sorry, I want to make noise and drag. Why is this misbehaving? Apologies, though. My computer is just showing me the best way.
Please, sorry, I have a question.
Okay. How is it not dragging?
Yes. Please, concerning this basic string in operations, formal languages, is that what you're also teaching us?
Basic, I don't understand, sorry.
From the man's notes. Because the man taught us formal languages, basic string operations.
You don't want to go there? No. Sorry, I don't know why. I apologize. I want to close this editor and reopen it back. I'm not talking. We are dealing with, what's it called? We are dealing with what we have in the book.
In the man's textbook?
Yes.
Okay.
Apologies, I don't know why my editor is not coming up. Okay, let me just use the terminal. I don't know. Maybe I might need to restart my.
You may need to restart your system.
And I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. But
Maybe
don't worry.
you just
Don't worry. I'll use my terminal. I'll just use the terminal. Sorry. CD documents. LS. And CD project. Sorry, apologies. I shouldn't be doing this, but it is already sometimes. Project MIT. Okay. CD MIT. LS. Okay, then. Facebook tonight. Okay. CD. Facebook. Okay. So I want to run the code so that we'll have something to work with. So what I'll do is I'll just, like I did the other time, I'll just create something we can work with. Let's just do public void. Then inside there, let's call our stack. Sorry, we call this tonight. So we have to create an object for that, right? So let's do tonight. How can we call it tonight? Let's do tonight. Yeah, let's do tonight. And let's do new tonight. Yeah. Okay. So I'll just do tonight dots. So our first thing is push, dot push, and push is going to accept. Oops. So push is accepting. Oh, this is smaller. Sorry. If you can't see it, please let me know. So I just want to practicalize what we have. So push is accepting. Let's put 10 into it, and inside there. So what can we do? Let's system print out. So let's print it out. System dots out dots print line. Let's say pop or push. We are dealing with push first. So let's do like this. Let's do push. Yes. So let's do push, and I think that should be it. So let's do push and let's display what we have there for pick, pop, and push. Okay. So let's push like 5 things inside. To be honest, I didn't prepare for this class, so some things I just recovering on the group. I'm sorry, I have to reduce this because it's actually affecting me. So, what are we pushing? We are pushing 10, 20, 30 into it, and let's display what we have here. So let's display what we have in the kidney. What's it called? In the stack. Should we display it? Yeah. Well, that's
Sorry, Ridwan. So I have a question.
there you go. You can push.
Please, I want to know this thing we are doing.
Yes.
Can you just give a real life scenario of something that uses this programming? Let's know for me, so I know what I'm trying to put in my head. Do you get my question?
Real life analogy.
Like yes, like something that they can use this thing to program, and we are using it currently. If any something relating to.
Yeah. So for example, this one we are dealing with actually this push, pop, pick, and even boolean. We use it every day. For example, take your ATM machine as an example. So your ATM machine, let's say you want to like withdraw, you go to the ATM, you input your card.
Okay.
So once you input your card, it's going to accept your PIN. So if it's asking for your PIN, at least you have 4-digit PIN. As you are putting in the PIN, it can actually be pushing it into whatever, like an array or something like that, to have it and use it later. Or I don't know. Let's see. Okay. For example, let's say you are inputting the amount. Let's say you want to withdraw 5,000 naira. You put 5,000 naira. Then at the point you want to like delete 0 from the last item. I don't know if you get. So you want to withdraw 5,000 naira. You input 50,000 naira, but you want to remove the last 0, which is the last thing, and it's going to be the first out. So on your machine, your ATM, the keyboard, it has backspace to delete something, to delete the last item. So this can come handy. Though that might not be the case, but I'm just using that. That's the first thing that came to my head. So you push in something which is 5, then you input 0, you input another 0. This is 5,000, another 0. This is 50,000. But you are like, no, I want to withdraw 5,000, not 50,000. If you press the delete button on your machine, it's going to delete the last one. So that is what is meant by last in, first out. Because the last 0 was okay. Let me use. Let's say you want to withdraw 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is 56,789 naira. And you're like, no, I made a mistake. I actually want to withdraw 5,678. So this 9 is the last item to come in, and you want it to be the first item out when you delete. So push into it. So let's say they have an array or a list of things. So you want to push. So if a user presses 5, it should push it in. If a user presses 6, it should push it in. If a user presses 7, push it in. Presses 8, push it in. Presses 9, push it in. So then you have to write another method. And if you remember from the first slide, I said methods are like they have specific things they do, like a function they do. They are like reusable function. They perform specific tasks. So here now I'm saying when the user punches their keypad, push whatever they punch, push it somewhere, which is this stack. So push it into a bucket called stack. So now this stack is going to be like holding this. So I don't know. I'm struggling to like explain.
Get an example.
So-
Okay, what about an example for the bullion?
Yeah, I'm coming.
Okay,
So the
okay,
second
bullion.
one is pop. Pop can be used like you want to pop out the last item, which is pop out 9. If you press on delete again, pop out the last item. If you press on delete again, if you press on delete again, till you have empty and you don't have anything again. So that is this. Then for this is empty, which is boolean, and that can be like, let's say after you've imputed your pin, something is asking you like, do you want to proceed? You are going to see the options like yes or no. So you can write a method which is, if it is in the case of ATM, you can write something like is proceed. Is proceed, yes or no. So if a user clicks no, then that means you are not proceeding. If a user clicks yes, that means that is true, and you can write some other things based on whatever thing that comes into this. So you can just say this is going to accept a boolean, which is going to be state. I just call it state, like status or something, yes or no. So if the status, whatever thing the user press, let me just call this user press. So if a user presses, if what comes in is no, then the system will perform things based on that condition because you've given it a false value. If the user presses yes to proceed, then you are telling the system to proceed with whatever thing you actually provided. So I don't know if that actually solved it.
Yes. I
Sorry,
get it now.
sometimes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you are welcome. So we have this now. So we are saying what I'm saying here, because I just want to print out this so that we can see what we have. So we've written our method, right? Our first method is push. So I'm just using push as an example. Don't worry, I've performed some abracadabra here. So what is happening here is I have another method which is main, blah, 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 like I explained in the first class. So I just want to test out all the things we've written so far. So the first thing I'm handling is push from what we've written so far. And in our push, we are saying push is a method, like we can call it anything. You can say push number, but just for it to be in line with what we have in the book. We are saying push is a method, and this method accepts an argument, parameter, or argument or parameter. So it accepts an argument of item, and this item that is accepting is an integer. So it's expecting you to input something, an integer. So let's say here I'm putting in 10 as my integer. So 10 is going to enter here, and it's going to follow your code base. So in your code base, you have something called stack, which is here, which is an array of integers or a list of integers. So you are now saying if I put 10 here, 10 should come in. So this is going to become 10. And what is top? Top is 0. This is going to be 0. So at the end of the day, you are ending up with something like this, 10. So if I call 20 again, you have something like this called 20. So it goes on and goes on, depending on how many times and whatever thing so let's say I call it again and I put 100. I beg if you don't understand, just ask questions. So at the end of the day, we are going to end up with something like 100 here. So this is going to be like a list of numbers from whatever thing, how many times I called the guinea. So after that, it's not going to say, okay, let me do this. It's not going to say, after you've added the number, increment, yes, that's the English I was looking for. Increment by 1. So increment top by 1. So this is not going to become, instead of 0, it's going to become 1. So no matter how many times, the number of times I call this particular method, that is the number of times it's going to increment it. So I call it here 1, I call it here again 2, I call it here again 3, I call it here again 4. So at the end of the day, if I call this push method 4 times, this is going to be, top is going to end up being 4. I don't know if you understand. So it's going to be like, so this is saying increment this by 1. So the first time I call it, top is initially 0. If I call it increment by 1, it's going to be 1. If I call this push method again, it's going to increment top by 1 again. So top is currently 1, increment it by 1, this is going to be 2. So if I call the push method again, top is 2, increment it by 1, this is going to be 3. So if I call this 400 times, it's going to keep incrementing it by 1, by 1, by 1, by 1. So I know you ask, like, in what and a real life scenario does this make sense? So let's say somebody is imputing wrong pin, and you set your system to say anytime this user input a pin, just have pin tries. So I just want to say pin tries equals 0. So initially it's going to be 0. So if someone should input their ATM card into the machine and they input, my pin code is 111 and they input 000, I want to be keeping track of how many times they've imputed wrong codes. So if I set my system to say after the 5th try, lock the card or seize the card. So that is where this is useful. So you now say anytime they input wrong code, increment pin trials by 1. So if they input the wrong code the first time is going to be +1. If they input the wrong code the second time, +2, +3, +4, +5. So you can now write your program, just to like track it. So we are tracking, like I said, you can say I wrote it here. We are tracking the top elements. So this is tracking how many pin tries the user is inputting into the wrong pin they are inputting into the ATM. What's it called? So after the 5th try, I can write a code to say if this pin tries is equals to 5, seize the card of the user, and that's it. So this is useful anywhere, like in anywhere, even your phone, your SIM card. If you enter the wrong pin after some number of times, it's going to lock your phone. So they are using something to track it. So we are using top to track what is on the top. So initially it's going to be 0. So anytime the item comes in, then increment it by by 1. So I don't know if that is clear, or I should go again. Right? Hello, people of God.
It is well.
It is well, or it is clear.
It is well, my dear brother.
Please, just ask questions. I will take my time to explain. So now let's now run our code. So we've done for push. I've explained push. So I'll just do for pop 2. So let's do pop. So we are going to say tonight dot pop. So we are popping the last. This is not expecting anything. So it's just going to pop the last item.
So, what was Edwin?
Yes.
I good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Sorry, please. I want to ask. I want to know.
Okay.
So, what's the difference between push and pop?
Okay, I explained the other time.
When it comes to Java or any other programs
Any
that
programming that's using it. So push is like when I started the class, I was explaining according to what we have in the book. So I don't know where did I write that though? I wrote it somewhere. Okay, tonight. Where? So I was explaining something here, and I even went ahead to pull up a diagram from Google. So you can see this demonstration on Google, right? We have an empty stack. Push is pushing something into it. And I explain, like, I use our class. For example, let's say we have our class in MIT. In the class, only one person can enter into the class. The class is so slim and small that two people cannot stand side by side. We can only stand either on top of each other or, on a single row. So the first person that enters is number 1. Second person enters number 2. Third person enters number 3. So let's say this class, our class in MIT can only accept three people at least. That's how the program is like. Only 3 people can enter. So push is pushing people, like you are pushing people inside into the class. Like push someone in front of you, push them inside. So we push them inside. That one has gone, and the next thing is okay. We are done with whatever thing they are doing inside class and all that. We want people to be going out. Like I said, we only have one entrance. So that means the last person that enters is going to be the first person that will go out. So that is where we have last in, first out. LIFO. It's in the book. It's actually on page 5. So you see, FIFO. I explain FIFO, which is first in, first out, and I explain LIFO, which is last in, last out. Let me do this. I don't know. Okay. This might not give us. So you can see it, last in, last out. So that is LIFO. Last in, last out. So this is a LIFO.
No, sorry, it says last in, first out.
Oh, sorry, talk too much. Last in, first out. LIFO. LIFO. That's it. LIFO. Last in, first out. We have LILO too. Last in, last out. And we have FIFO, which is first in, first out. So what we are saying now is, okay, let's say you have a cup of water, like just a cup, and you are putting some items inside that cup. It is not possible unless the cup has 2 entrances. It's not possible to remove what is at the bottom. You can only remove what is at the top. So which is last in. The last item you put is going to be the first item you are going to take out. So all these push, pop, pick, and all that, they are operations. You cannot speak to your computer like, okay, I have a cup, or remove something. You cannot tell the computer like that. There are some things that you can use. They are inbuilt into the system, into the, what's it called? Into the data type, for example, like an array data type. So they are inbuilt. We have the likes of push. There are plenty. Even in the book, they highlighted it on page 4, like push, pop, pick, a lot of things. And if you remember, if you watched the video or you attended the last class we did, I actually mentioned methods. Like I mentioned a lot of things about method. I think that should be the Python class. Yes, I mentioned a lot of things about methods. Sorry, I want to see if data type. Okay, don't worry. Okay, yes, look at it. I don't know if you can still see my screen. I mentioned a lot of operations we can perform on methods or string and all that. Like this is a string. There's something built into the string. So if you have, if you open your, what's it called? And what's it called? Okay. So they are just like methods. You can even Google search. Yeah, let's do that. Array methods.
I read one.
Yes.
I think my own question is, it seems as if even for all of these methods, we still have to define how it works. I would have assumed that once you use the word push, the system understands. But like we've done here, I think the only thing that we've used that we didn't have to define was probably the stack. But the other one,
I actually disagree.
I know you said I know you said that for the pop. Sorry, I know you said for the pop we can call it anything. But I'm saying even the rule inside int items, like we had to define how it should work. Like how the way it should be.
So apparently in programming, they are just using all this to let you know what is actually going on in these methods. So most of the programming languages have all this by default. I use JavaScript, and I can tell you if I go to JavaScript array methods, yes, everything comes like by default. Do we have here? Okay, everything comes by default. You can see it. JavaScript array method. We have pop. So this removes something, so you don't have to define it. But what they are doing is, sometimes somebody will just be doing push pop. They want us to understand what is actually going on behind the scenes. So that is why they are doing all this. Like, okay, we said there is something called push. How does it even work? So how it works is what they are trying to, like, for example, how can I put it to, let's say you buy your phone, yeah. For example, you bought a phone and you are just using your phone. You just put something and everything is working. But as a programmer, they want to like let you understand what is actually working behind the scenes. Like, okay, you press a button, you press your call button and it's calling a number. What happens when you press the call button? What is happening under that keypad inside your phone? So that is why they are trying to like make us see here, like, okay, a method called push. If you run the method, this is what it's going to do. It's going to do this, do that, do this. I don't know if you understand. But most of these things come by default on most of those things. I don't know if you understand. So even in your text editor, if you define an array, so let me. I just want to do this for what's it called? So let's say I define an array of a number. Let's say my number. I call it my number, right? And I say my number equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you'll see something here. If I do my number dots, just do dots. You can see I have a lot of things here. Is it the clone? So the editor is actually bringing all this for me to make me understand like I can do a lot of things with this, right? So you can see even if you over on these things, it will tell you some things like this is what is going on. I don't know if you get that. So I don't know. I think I'm trying to justify what's happening. But at least for peace to read, we agree with me, right? So now let's practice what we did, what we have in the book. So we've told our program to push some things. So I'm pushing some numbers into the array, and the next thing is I want to pop out those things from the array. So if you want to see what is in the array, we can do what can we do? The array. Okay. We have what do you have? Stack. Okay, let's do stack. Let's make that stack. Let's do stack. Stack plus should we do stack? Yeah, stack. Let's do tonight. Yeah. Hello.
Are we recording this class?
Yeah, I'm recording it. I'm recording it. So now I want to run my code base. I wrote this thing somewhere. Sorry. I don't want to be typing all this. Okay. So I want to run my code base now. What's my code base? I called it tonight inside test. Okay. So let me run this. So I just run tonight.java, tonight.java, and tonight. So oops, I have an error. Could not find or load main class tonight. Wrong name tonight. Why is it wrong name? I have tonight.java. Tonight is there. Something is wrong there. Could not find. Sorry, main method tonight. Data, right? So that won't just waste time on it. Should we do this in Python also, or we should just focus on JavaScript? Sorry, Java.
I bet use Python, please.
Okay, so let's do Python too. So
Sorry, just a question. Are you done with the Java part and you're moving to Python, or
well, apparently,
you're stopping Java?
No, we're actually done with what we have in the textbook.
Okay.
But then I don't know. Maybe I need to like re-explain what is actually happening here, like manually, so that we understand. So because
Sorry, can we see the results of what we are writing? Like, is it possible to run? Like...
I run into error, so and I want to take my time.
Okay.
So I don't want that to be like a blocker for us to like, we just stay here till 12.
Okay. Let's move to Python then, if everyone agrees.
Yeah.
Re-explain, Ogami.
Yeah. I want to re-explain.
So that's
So what we have here, I've actually explained this in the last session. So please I don't want to go back to this. So what we are now doing here is according to what is in the textbook, right? So they have a class here, and inside this class we are doing some operations. So the first one is we have an integer of n, which is n is going to store a value of integers, numbers. So we assign it. So this is initialization. They call it when you what's it called? When you assign a value to a variable. So you initialize it, like you give it an initial value. Then we now say we have a bucket called stack, and that bucket, I'm just using that word bucket, and that bucket is going to be like it's going to hold a list of numbers, which is an array of integers. So an array, you can use it interchangeably like list array. Then we are now
sorry. So the square bracket indicates that it's an array, right?
Yes, absolutely.
The square bracket in front of the int.
Yes. So this indicates that it's going to be an array. So even if it is string, if you do string, so this is saying it's going to be a string, an array of strings.
Array of strings. Okay,
yes.
I get that.
So this is going to be an integer of an array of integers, an array of numbers. So we are now saying we call this a variable name. We are saying our bucket. I'm just using the word bucket, or our cup. Our cup is going to be called stack, and we are now saying stack is going to be initialized with an integer of n, which is this, right? So
there isn't new, right? There isn't new. Are we importing anything before the new? Because from what I was taught, okay.
So sorry, I think we are giving it a length. Like we want our integer to be a length of 5 or something. Yeah. So then we have another variable here, which is top, and we are initializing it with 0. And the main purpose of this is we just want to track what the top item is. That's why we are doing it. We want to track like how many items do we have in the cup. Like let's say we have cup and we want to be dropping stones inside. Like how many stones we have and which one is at the top. So then we now write our method, and like I explained, method is something like a reusable component. You want to reuse it over and over and over again. So we write our method, and we are now saying this method is going to have a name called push, and our push method is going to be accepting anything that is number, just a single number. That's why we say it's going to accept integer number. So after it has accepted number, then what is going to happen? It's going to take our cup, which is name stack, and it's going to take the position, like what position is it, and our position is 0. That means we are taking the item on position 1, and we are saying okay, we'll go to position 1 inside couple and put whatever number we put here at that particular position. So let's say if we have if stack, if stack has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 items here. So we are saying whatever top is, which is 0, take stack the position of 0, any item that is in position 0, assign whatever number we put into this particular method into it. So this is going to, let's say our top is 0 now, the item on position 0 is 2. We're now saying if this push method accepts 100, so if you call push to be 100, so take 100 put it in position top, which is 0, which is 2. So it's going to be like this, for example. I'm just using this for example. And we are now saying top that is 0 should be incremented by 1. So by now our top equals 1. So if you call this method again and we say okay, push in 200 now, it's going to take 200, check the stack, and what is top 1? What is in position 1? 0, 1, which is 3. Assign whatever thing we push into this there. So this is going to be 200. So if you now say okay, we call push again, we put it 900. So by now push is at the top is 2. So we put in 900, which is item. So in this case, item equals 900 because I call the method with 900. So take 900, take item O, then check what is top. Top is 2. Then check the stack. What is stack of what is in position 2? So this is going to be position 2. So what is in position 2? 0, 1, 2, which is 4. Then assign 900 to it, and this is going to be 900. So that's just the basic explanation of what is happening here. So after that, let's say we now have our stack to be this. We are now saying we have another method called pop. So what is pop doing? Pop is doing whatever number that's top is. You know, we are keeping track. Let's say top is 5 now. We've 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've added 5 now. We've called this push 5 times. So top is going to be 5. So we are now saying whatever top is, do minus 1. So this is decrement. And this is increment. Increment plus 1 by 1. So we are now saying minus 1. So top is 5. 5 minus 1 will be 4. So top will now change to 4. Then we are now saying integer item. Int item, we are declaring a variable here. Item is going to be stack, then top. So what is stack? Stack is 2, 3, 4, 5. Then what is top? Top is currently 4. Then we now take item on position 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5 is on position 4. So in this case, item is going to be 5. 5. Then we are now returning 5. So if you call this method 5 times, it's going to be decreasing it minus 1 until it gets to 0. Or I think until it gets to minus 1 self. So it's going to like, what's it called? The number of times you call it is the number of times this top is going to be decreasing until it reaches 0. So that is that, and it's going to return that. Then for peak.
Wait, oh, sorry, please. I observed that the counter, that top minus
counter,
is first. Can it come down? Is it possible that because in the case of the previous one, that's the
it comes down.
What do you call it? Yeah, it is down. That's the operation is performed before the counter.
Yes.
Now this counter is done before the. Is it going to distort it if we change the order like that?
Well, let's see what's going to happen. Let's say we have how many numbers here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 numbers here, right? So basic explanation is if we do top minus minus. So by the time we get here, top equals to 4, right? Because it has imported 1. So we are now saying we declare a variable here. We are now saying take stack position 4. So you understand what is actually happening now. If you remember something, I said in programming, if you want to like count in programming, you start from 0, right? So if we check these things, if you count from 0, 1 is 0, 3 is position 1, or let me just do 200 so that we would not be doing 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So position 0, what is in position 0? 20. What is in position 1? 30. You explain what is happening now. You understand what is happening now. Position 2 is 40.
I get it.
Position 3 is 50, and position 4 is 60. So, and you remember, we are removing the last item. So if we do position 5 here, there is no item on position 5. So we are now
from 0.
Yes, we are not decreasing it. So we are saying remove what is on position 4, which is 60, which is the last item, and the pop is going to pop out the last item. So that is why we are doing this. But if we do this at the last, let's say it is last, it's not going to like really work for us. And you know, programming starts from the top to the bottom, right? So here we are now saying, okay, take item O, take a stack top, and top is what's it called? Top is 5. It's not going to say anything here, so nothing is going to happen. You understand? So that's why it comes first. I don't know if I'm able to explain. You understand now, right?
So I get you.
So that is what is actually happening.
Yeah, I get it. So the stock is actually going to be having the highest position in the stock is before.
Yes,
well, right?
Yes, that's the highest
because
position.
Okay, so that will be 60.
Because the item we pop. Okay, let's say we call this 100. This push we call it 100 times. Top is going to be 100. That means the items in this particular stack is going to be like 100. You understand? Blah 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 to 100. Yes. Right. So if we are now coming here, since we are dealing with 0, like programming is counting with 0, so we just have to do minus to get the last item here. So I don't know if that's clear. You understand?
I get it. It's okay. Yeah.
So that is why we have that. You're welcome. So what else? Sorry, I want to undo all the things I've done. So the next one is peak. So this peak is, like I explained, it's just like to see what we have, right? So peak is saying we declare a variable item, which is a number, and we say stack. You can see it's still the same thing here. So what we have here is still the same thing as saying top minus minus. So then whatever top is. Do you understand? Hello?
No, please, can you take it again?
Okay. I said something the other time when we are dealing with plus plus and minus minus. I said plus plus means anything plus 1. That's plus plus. Minus minus means anything minus 1. So they are not doing it here too. If they do plus minus minus there, it's still the same thing with what we have here. I don't know if you understand that part. But you wouldn't want to do it here so that you would not have box. I don't know if anybody's on that. Like this thing, top minus 1, is still the same thing as top minus minus.
Minus minus.
Yes. But you wouldn't want to use it here so that you would not have box. It's always okay to do it separately like here. So I think that we just want to do, let's say, int new position. I just want to do this. New position equals top minus minus. I can just come here and do new position. It's still the same thing. It's confusing, right?
No, it's clear. Okay. I don't think it's confusing to me, actually.
Okay. So
because what you mean now is that you are assigning that one to variable and then putting variable inside that.
Exactly. Yeah. So this pick is saying, okay, declare a variable integer of item, and that integer of item should be top minus. So let's say we have 5. 5 minus 1 is 4. So take whatever thing that is in 4, position 4, which is going to be 0, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is going to be 5. So it's going to return 5. I don't know if that's clear. So then
wait, so what is now the difference between this pick and pop? Because you said that for this pop,
okay,
if we are counting from it, we are going to be counting from 0, Abby. Yes. But this pick will be counting from 1, Abby.
Yes.
That is the difference, Abby.
Yes.
For pop, we'll be counting from 0.
Yes.
So from pick, we'll be counting from 1.
Let me now explain here, right? So yeah, let's say for this pop, and like I said, pop is going to remove. So which means it's going to distort, it's going to change, it's going to modify whatever thing you have, right? So if I have 6 something, if I pop, this 6 is gone forever. It's not coming back again. But if I pick is just going to show me what is the last item in that array. It's not going to do anything. It's not going to affect the array. It's not going to modify it. It's not going to delete. It's not going to add to it. It just wants to like pick the last thing on there and show me like, oh, you have 6 there. But it's not going to distort my array. If you run this pop like 5 times, it's going to, the first time it will remove this, second time it will remove this, third time it will remove this, fifth time it will remove this, and last time it will remove this, and you have nothing left. But for pick is not removing anything. Pick is just saying, I want to see what is on the last, what's it called? What is on the last item here. So let me take us back to pop. Pop here we are saying minus minus minus. So this minus minus means this is going to become 4, right? That is this first one. It has distorted our, what's it called? Our program already, because it has changed this to 4, from 5 to 4. But for pick is not distorting it. Pick is just saying top minus 1. It's not entering into, how do I say it?
You can say it like pick is going there just to snap the picture.
Yes.
It's not actually taking the actual object away.
Yes.
Something like that.
Yeah. So let me tell you something. There is something in programming called mutability. So there are some things in programming that they mutate. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's English. Mutability. Mutability. So mutability in program or in Java or in Python. So they mutate. They change. They allow you to change their values, or like they mutate. So they change it. So that is mutability and immutability. So you can see mutability here refers to data that can be accessed and changed after they've been created and stored in memory. Immutability on the other hand refers to data that you can't change after creating them, but you can still access them in memory. So here, in this case, pop is changing. So if you do top plus plus, it is changing. So now let me tell you something. I said something the other time, like if you do top plus plus, it's the same thing as saying, sorry, is it top? Okay, it's the same thing as saying top plus 1, right? So the difference between the two is this top plus plus is going to like change whatever top is, but this top plus 1 will not change it. It will just assign it to another variable. Let me put it this way. Let's do something here. Let me do it at the top. Where can I do it? Okay, let's do it here, right? Away from. So if I do top plus plus, right? This is going to affect. It will go to top wherever top is in my program. It's going to change it plus 1. It will say 5 plus 1, and the new top now is going to be 6. Yeah. But if I do int new top equals top plus 1. So this is not going to change top. It's not going to touch top at all. Top still remains 6 forever. But my new top here is going to be what? It's going to be 7. So it's just like I want to copy your exam, right? We are writing exam. I want to copy whatever thing you have in your booklets, but I don't want to tamper with your booklets, right? So that is different from me collecting your booklet and writing on it. So this top plus plus is going to like change it. Change whatever thing that you have here. But if you do top plus 1 here, it's just going to assign, it's just going to see as if you are performing an operation, like an arithmetic operation, like you are not changing anything. So this is going to modify your program, but this is not going to modify your program. By the end of the day, they have different use cases and different ways to use them, right? But because here we are keeping track of something, so that's why we are doing top plus plus. We want this to be incrementing, right? And we are using top minus minus here because we want it to be decrementing. We want to be changing this directly. So sorry. Okay. So the last one here, which is pick. Pick is just going into your array and seeing what is there, the last item. So that is that about that. Then boolean is is checking. Like, is top less than or equals to 0? If it is equals to 0, they return true. If it is not equals to 0 and not less than 0, return false. So that is that about this. Then I think we should just proceed because time is going already. Do we need to do in Python? Let's just move ahead, please. So in the book, the next one is okay. They did it in Python also. Oh God. So in Python, the same thing we do it in Java. You have to define your class, and what can we give? Let's call our class tonight, like we did in Java also. So we call it tonight. This is a class. Another is we have. So in Python, if you want to write a method, you use def. Then we can call it init as the initial stuff. Then we have self. I might not be able to explain all this in total. So we are now doing self.data. Let's call it as just like we have it in the book. So we are initiating this to be an array. So which means this data is going to, like, whatever thing that we pass into this is going to, like, have a data which is an array, a list of things. Then after this we have another function which is another method rather, which is going to be push self, then the element we want to push, right? So this is going to be self.data that we pass in. Then so for here it's going to be what's it called in Python? Python has some methods by default. You can see append, clear, copy, count, index. Even it has pop, it has remove, it has reverse, it has sort. You can actually use your Python and see what is actually happening on this. So if I hover on this pop on the left, I have remove and return item at index, which is the last index. So it raises index error if list is empty or index is out of range. So the same thing if I do, okay, we don't have what's it called here? We don't have it, do we? So they have a lot of methods like you can actually look into. So here we are saying we want to append. Append means we want to add to the array. Then we do elements, right? And that's it. So this is going to add to the array. Oh, at last. Is it? Sorry. Okay. So at last I have my terminal. Then let's define another let's define the method pop. So this is also going to accept the array which is self. Then don't worry, I'm going to explain what is actually happening here. It's going to return self.data.pop. So you can see this one actually have pop by default, right? So let's do for what's it called, pick. Yeah, let's do for pick. So we do pick. Pick is going to accept the whole array, and it's going to return the whole array -1. So this is going to return the last array, actually the last item in the array, the last element, which is going to be self.data, then -1. So this is it. Ah, God. Shit, I need to close it back again. Okay, so the same thing we did in Java is the same thing we are doing in Python. Let me just open them on different side by side so that we have it closer. So the same thing, you can see Java. On Java, you have to write a lot of English, a lot of things actually. It's one of the things I don't like Java. So here we are saying we have an initial, what's it called? You can see initialize self and all that. So it's going to initialize self, and it's going to like assign self. It's going to like assign it an empty array, right? And we have our method which is called push. Push is accepting that initialized array, which is self. It's going to accept it. Then it's going to accept the element we want to push into it. So in this case, it's saying like you have to give me the bucket that you want to push something into, and you have to give me the item you want to push into it. So that's what this is doing. Give me the bucket that you want to push something into. We call it self. It can be anything. Let me just call it bucket instead of self. Let me call it buckets. Yeah. So here we are saying buckets. Initialize this with buckets and .data. So bucket.data is going to hold array. So here is saying we are defining the method, and the method is accepting the bucket and also the elements we want to push into the bucket. And we are now saying bucket.data, which is what we did there. We are now saying bucket.data, then append the element. And this append is going to append to the end of the list. So if I hover on it now, you can see it. It said append object to the end of the list. So we are appending to it. And we have another one which is pop. Pop is saying take the whole bucket, then pop out the last item from it. Return the popped, what's it called? So you can see it if you hover on it. And this is why I love Python. Pop, remove, and return item as index. The default, which is it defaults to last. Then pick. Pick is saying take the whole bucket, then return the last item. So you can see it. So Python is pretty straightforward. So I don't know if there's any question on this, so that we can move forward. Time is going.
Wait, you are using buckets?
Yeah, I can give it any name. I can call it read one.
Okay, that's safe. It's not compulsory to use safe.
No, it's not safe. They just like sometimes you would want to follow some can I call it standard, right? But I can call it any name.
Okay.
You understand? I can call it any name.
Oh,
But in the book,
okay.
they wrote self, so that you don't have to grab. You can actually call it
Okay,
anything.
so
But let me call
empty
it self.
list. Append to empty list. Okay.
Yeah. So let me just. So you can. I just use bucket so
Okay.
that it can be explanatory. You understand? Like
Okay.
I was using bucket as an analogy. Like the bucket is holding something, and you want to pour something inside. So you want to append to the bucket. You want to pop out of the bucket and all that. So that's why I'm using that. You get.
So because I'm just looking at that pop.
Okay.
I use it. Okay, pop function. Okay, pop is a function in
Yeah, it's a function in Python. They don't
Python
like
already.
this. Yeah, it's a function. So if I do, let's see, there are a lot of methods in Python. You can see when I do dots, you can see it brings all the methods.
Can you remove something like that?
Yeah, can you see?
Is it possible to do remove instead of pop?
Yeah, we can do remove, but what is remove? So remove removes first occurrence of a value. So if you want to remove, let's say I want to remove 1. So that means it's going to remove, let's say I want to remove 1 from it. It's going to remove any occurrence of 1 from it.
Okay.
So the first occurrence of that value.
Okay, it's not removing by position. Pop does by position.
No, it's removing the first occurrence of the value. So if we have, let's say we have 2, 4, 1, 2, like this. So it's going to remove the first one that it comes across, which is this, and leave the others.
Okay.
You understand? So that is what that one is doing. But
Okay, that means remove what's with the value.
Yes.
That's what to remove. Why
Exactly.
pop is with the position.
So yes,
Right? Right?
you get it.
Okay.
Pop is the position. So
Okay.
you can see it uses last. It's going to pop out the last item in the array, in the what's it called, list. Then we have the pick. Pick is just saying, we are just saying pick into it, return the last item. I want to see the last item. So that is what this is doing. So the next one is exception handling in Java and Python. So what is an exception on page 17 of the book? So what is an exception? So exception is an error that occurs during programming.
Hi, Redon.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So is it possible for us to run examples of this
This one, right?
stack, pop to push, like real examples and see the results also?
Okay.
Before we go to exception.
We can do that. Right. Okay. So this one that my timeline is not coming up. Okay. So let's do that. What do we have there? ls have tonight's Python. So let's do some things. Someone is raising up their hands. So let's run this. I think this one will make sense. So in Python, let's do for push. So let's just print out. Let's do print. Okay. So push. Let's do pushed. Push. What did we push? The element that we pushed. So let's do push. Okay. Then put it inside. Elements. Yeah. So push the elements and here let's do print. Pop out elements. Pop elements. Return the elements. Then sorry, we can't pop out. So we have to actually get the element first before we. So let's do, what exactly is the element? Let's do element equals self dot data dot self dot data dot pop. Yeah, because it's going to return pop is going to return the elements, right? So yeah, and that's saying elements, return elements. Yes. So then for pick, what can we print out the elements? So let's just do elements equals to whatever thing that is there. I want to see it. Then return elements. Yes. So I think this should work. Yeah. So let's run this actually. Let's see what we have. So and I think the first thing is we have to define our main function and run it. So let me just define the main method. So this method is going to pick our tonight. Let's call it tonight. Tonight. I can call it anything actually. So tonight, run the class, initiate the class of tonight, create an object of tonight. Then I'll just say tonight dot, what can we push? Let's push in 10. So let's push in like different numbers. Hopefully this will, I don't know. I just hate Java. It makes life hard. Then what else can we do? Let's do dot pick. Let's pick into it also so that we run it at once. Let's pick into it. Then what else can we do? Let's pop. We pop like 3 times. Let's pop 3 times because we push 3 times. Then let's pick again to see what we have there. So now let's call our method main. Yep. So let's run this. What do I have here? Python 3 tonight.py. Oops. What's up? Out of range. Why? Okay. Main line 34. Out of range. Alright. Okay. Let me pop out twice. Let's speak. Oh, okay. So I've seen the issue. So let me go back into this. Sorry, I have to do something. Sorry. Okay. So initially it went out of range because it popped out all those things and there was nothing left. Again, so what do we have here? Traces back, main, push. Okay, line 7. How do we print out in how do we print out in Python? I don't forget. People have bothered me, help me, I don't forget. How do we print out in Python? Plus, yes. So I'm saying here push plus elements. Okay, we push, we print, yeah, elements, push, print, then push, we print. So what's happening? Okay, can only concatenate strings. Let me use f pick. So that's the f pick. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. So I don't know if you can see my screen. Hello, can you see my screen? Hello.
Yes, we can. Yes, I can.
Yeah, so the first time I push in 10 went in. I push in 20, it went in. I push in 30, it went in. So when it wants to pop, the first time it popped 30, it returns 30. Then why is it popping? Okay, I made a mistake. In the peak. Where's peak? Oh, I wrote pop. Peak. I made a mistake. Okay, so I'm going to run it again. Yeah?
Pep, I wanted to ask, when is this class ending?
Very soon. You're tired, right?
It's already 11 now. Some of us are going to work tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm sorry. After this, I'll just go straight to the other point and we'll just end it there. So the first time I push in 10, I push in 20, I push in 30. So I pick means to see the last item in the array. Then I pop out 30, pop out 20. Then I pick again to see what is left in the array. And I saw 10. And I think that's actually that actually ends our code, right? So let's just move on to the next one. So the next one is talking about was it exception on page 17. So sorry, we are going to like make it very fast and brief now. It's just the explanations. Okay, so I'm coming there. Okay, 17, right? So okay, so exception. I was trying to explain exception the other time. I said exception is an error that occurs during programming, during program running, or what's it called? Program execution, right? So let's say you want to run some things and like the other time I ran into an error but I couldn't capture it. So how do you now undo exception, right? So let's say in exception, okay, like this one that happened the other time. I can just do in exception we use try, catch, and finally. So they call it try, catch, and finally to undo exceptions. So the try, which is this try block, the try block, you know, this is where your main code is going to be. Then if there is any error, the catch block is going to catch that error, and you can just print it out. For example, let's say we have this and I want to catch this. I'll just say system.printout so that it prints out this incoming. I just copy this so that it's faster. Then this. So I just say system.printout this error, which is E. Then finally is any code you want to run and you want it to run always run. It's going to run every time. Sometimes they use it for like cleanup or something. So let me just do try and catch for now. You can always use this. So if I run this now, let's see what is going to happen to what we are going to get. This. So we have this, and I can even write something there, you know, just to capture it. I can just say error, then plus E. So this E is my error. I can just write it finish as error. So if I run this code again, it's going to capture some error. So you can see it wrote error. I can call it anything, right? So try and catch is what they use to like. It's used to undo exception. So exception is when you run your code and there are errors, and it is possible most times. Your machine or your phone or any software can run into error. You want to capture that error, and probably you can do a lot of things with the error. For example, let's say in the case of ATM, so if there's an error like network error, you want something to happen, maybe revert the money back into the customer's wallet, or notify them and all that. So you can do a lot of things with exception. What's it called? By handling exception. Then in Python, how do we handle exception in Python? Very similar to this. We can do try, in Python, you can still do the same thing. You can do try, then your code base, then you can do except, which is going to except, sorry, it's not going to be here. It's going to be under try, except, then the value error, then you can now do print whatever thing. So this is going to print out, let's say, invalid what's it called, invalid elements or something like that. So basically this is just the summary of how to handle exceptions in Java and in Python. So in Java you just use try and catch. In Java, this is it. Then in Python you just do try and except and the value of the value error. So that is that. Then the last one, before we move on to the what's it called, the assignment or the assignment. So control structures. Control structures can be seen on what page? Sorry, this is a lot. So control structures on page 40. And I think that's the last. So what are control structures? So control structures are like they determine the flow of a program. Like.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Before you go to control structures, sorry, what you just summarized now for exception handling. The man's book is like 2 pages or 3 pages of codes and everything.
Yes.
I know you summarized it, but
so,
in the answer to the exam, is it what you write?
No. Actually, let's say.
How does it apply?
Yeah, let's say according to the man, what he's doing is just giving different examples, like different examples. But basically, this is just it. If you check on page, what's it called? Page 20. Is it page 20? Even started from 17. He wrote normal programming, like normal programming. Then he tested it, and those ones threw some errors. If you check on page 19, you see some errors, exception in thread, kiniko. So then I think in page 20 to 21, he was now trying to undo that. Okay, in page 22, the first thing that listing 8, you see it. He wrote try, then he wrote cache, handling it. So it's not really something serious. This is just the summary of it, right? Then.
Wait, sorry, I wanted to ask you. All these long programs that the man used to write, did the man tell us to write all these long programs in the exam?
I've never done the exam before. But I don't think he will. Actually, when I saw the past question, it was even what's it called, multi-choice or multiple exam, like he did before. So I don't know if that's because it doesn't make any sense for us to be writing. Who does that in 2025? They don't do that. It's not even possible. It's not feasible.
Sorry, you said multi-choice. As in, like, what year was this past question?
I think that was 20. What was it called? Is it 2020? Kiniko. I'm coming. I opened it and.
20 what?
This is it. It is 2019, 2020. That's like 5 years ago.
Okay.
So all I saw is just A, B, C, D. So hopefully, I just pray that's going to be the case. I just pray. But nobody's going to write program on with pen and paper.
Yeah, we want to do it and they'll be very.
Okay. So then let's just move on to the last stuff so that we can just. So control structures. I said control structures determine the flow of a program, and we've done that before in our initial class where we did all these conditionals, if, else, if. So you can actually check the introductory class, the conditionals, even the loops. So we did if, else, if, and all that, all these conditionals. So you can actually check through. So it's basically that. So you are just checking for conditions and you are executing. If you're executing something else, if that condition is not met with else. So we have if, else, if. And I think the man also mentioned it in his last class. So for example, let me just leave this here. Okay, just to simplify things. So for example, you can do int age, and I use what's it called for us that day, voting system. Int age equals 20, and if age is greater than or equals to 18, then we should print out something. Yes. Else, what should happen? If you remember, we did it in that conditional class, so I don't think we should go back again like this one. I don't know. Let me just copy it out. So I just copy it and I'll just show us. So let me just copy it so that it will be faster. Oops. So we use it in that class that day. I said my age is 17, voting age is 18. So if my age is greater than or equals to voting age, then print out yes, you can vote. Else, if that condition is false, if that condition is not met, then do something else, which is print out no, you are underage. So I think that is pretty straightforward with control structure. So if you check the book, that is what we actually have there. Then we also have iteration under control structure. So the man is talking about iteration on page 42. Yeah, iteration on page 42. So iteration is when you are using what's it called, for loop. So which we've actually touched to. If you go to loops, so for loops, if you go to loops, we've actually done it before also. So I don't think we should go back there again so that we save time. But then I can actually explain some things about loops so that that sticks. So I'll just copy this again and do this. So what is actually happening here is we say for int I equals 0, I is less than 3, I plus plus. So here we have int I. So int I equals 0. So this is initializing. You are initializing the counter. Yeah, initialize the counter. So you are giving it an initial value. Then for I less than 3, so I less than 3. So this is the condition to check. Condition to check. Then, oops, to check. Then I plus plus, increment counter. So I think we've actually done this before, so I don't think we should spend much time on this. So this is saying that the initial value is 0. If I is less than this, then I plus plus. So, and I explained that day that firstly I is equals to 0. Then it will check the condition. Is I, which is 0, less than 3? If it is yes, it's going to run whatever thing that is inside this block of code, right? After it has finished running, it will now increment I plus plus, which is I plus 1. Very similar to what we have here, this top plus plus. So this is checking the condition. It will keep looping. We call it loop. It goes over and over again until this condition is not like the condition is not met. Like, so the first time I equals to 0, it will now check, is 0 less than 3? Yes, it will run whatever thing that is here. After running it, it will now say, okay, I'm done. Then let me increment I. What is I? 0. 0 plus plus equals to 1. It will go back here, assign 1 to this. Then I is now 1 now. It will now check this condition again. Is 1 less than 3? The answer is yes. It will run whatever thing that is here. Once it is done, it's going to increment this, which is 1 plus 1 equals 2. Then I equals 2 here. It will come here again. Is 2 less than 3? Yes. Oh yeah, run whatever thing that is here. Then increment I, which is 3. I equals 3. It will come here. I equals 3. Is 3 less than 3? No. Then the program terminates, and that's all. And I gave us analogy that did I. Let's say you are using the ATM, right? You want to withdraw 5,000. So your initial value is going to be 5,000. Or let's say they have naira notes of 1,000 naira notes inside the ATM machine, and you want to withdraw 5,000. So your I is going to be what? 1,000, which is the naira note they have inside. And you want to withdraw 5,000. Then I is going to be minus 5. Sorry, less than 5. Or equals to 5,000. Yeah, that's the condition. So in this case, our I is equals to 1,000 because each 1,000. And I plus plus, this condition might not be met. So you can actually do a counter like, because our I is 1,000. So it can be I equals to I plus 1,000. Okay, sorry, I used 1 instead of I plus 1,000. So you can actually remove this from here, and what else? You can do your increment here, like this here. I think there's a way you can do it with the for loop there also. So our I equals this here. So if you run your code, what's happening? Okay, this might not run actually. There is a way to increment, what's it called here? I don't know, maybe it will work if I do I plus 1,000. Right? Will it work? Will it work? Syntax error, so that's good. Blah blah blah. So basically that's just the way it is, so that I won't waste time fixing what is not. So this is just the initial value, this is the counter, and this is yep. And this is what's it called? The increment counter. So that is that. And I think we did the same thing in Python also. And in Python you can do something like for I in let's say range of 5. Yes. Range of 5, then we can print in, let's print I. So if we run Python, this is actually going to run. Oh, sorry, in range. But I don't disable. So I in range of 5. So let me just cancel all this. So if I run this Python code, it's actually going to run because I love Python. They are like no hard at all. So you can see it starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So because all these are in the range of 5, right? Then the last one, or second to the last. Oh, sorry, factorial before the assignments. Yeah, recursion. Yes. So we have the last one, which is on page 43. So I think after this we are done, then we'll move to the assignments. So the factorial, that's if you are looking at programming stuff in books, it looks ugly, but if you use your text editor, it makes sense. Like really makes sense, right? So for the factorial, they wrote public int factorial, which accepts an integer of n. Then why am I having this? Okay, I'm writing it inside another method. Yes. Then method must return. Okay. Then inside it we have they combine it. If n equals to 1 this is what's it called? Return 1. Else. Okay, sorry, not else. If s equals to 1, return 1, yeah. Or return factorial of n minus 1. Yeah. So that's the way it is in the book. But if you are looking at it in the book, it looks ugly. But this is basically it. So this is saying that if this is the same thing as this, else this is basically the same thing as this, right? But it's just like make it look beautiful. So that's why they're just removing all these curly brackets and whatnot. So this what I wrote before is still the same thing as this. So if n is equals to 1, then return 1. Else if n is equals to any other thing, then return n whatever thing is. So if n equals to 2, it will now be 2, then factorial n. So that is recursion. The recursion is just like it's calling, I think they call it calling itself over and over again. I've forgotten the kini recursion. It's calling itself over and over again. So it's repeating itself. Recursion in programming, yeah. So so this is it in programming. So recursion means the program is calling itself. So you can see we call it the method of factorial, and it's also calling itself again. So that is recursion. So if we have, let's say we have, if we give factorial 5, so if 5 comes here, it will be 5 times whatever thing that is there. I don't know. It's just like it's calling itself. I don't know how best I can explain it. Yeah. Then what else? I think that's all. Yeah. So then back to the assignment. Should we do the assignment now or should we just do it later? Hello, people.
Let's do it tomorrow, please.
Tomorrow, okay. Okay, I think that's fine.
And if possible, do like a refresher of this ones too.
Now or tomorrow?
Tomorrow, please.
God, I beg. Okay, no problem.
Oh, no, thank you so much.
Yeah, I think by then we can be able to solve some problems. And I'll go behind the scenes to also try to make all these ones work. So maybe tomorrow we can run it. So I think that's that tonight, yeah.